Hey everybody, and welcome back to G Squid King, where today we are going to be building a house. So I can teach you nerds on how to build a house, because I guarantee more than half of you don't know how to build a decent looking house. And if you can see the thumbnail, you can tell that I am pretty good at building. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And I do apologize for the beginning of the video and how my voice is not as loud, so it will clear up more as the video goes on. But I did fix the issue, I just couldn't re-record the clips. So enjoy the video and subscribe. Okay, so before we actually get started with the house itself, we're going to want to build a pillar around 5 blocks tall like this. And for the upper and lower area, I recommend either placing trap doors or shelves, because those look pretty nice. And that's a pillar, and that's going to go on the side of your house. Now, you don't have to take my design for a pillar, or you don't even have to use a pillar at all. It's just something to add more detail to your house for later. Okay, now that I have my pillar design, now we're ready for the outline. So for my first outline, I'm going to make it around 6 blocks long like so, and start building along the side like this, and build around. Okay, now that we made our layout, we're now ready for the walls. Alright, so for this house, my walls are going to be around 5 blocks tall, so like this. And now I have to build the walls all around here, and that is going to take time. So I'm going to get to work on that. Okay, we are now done with the walls. Sort of. And I'm going to be honest, this is probably what I imagine your guys' house to look like. But don't worry, by the end of this video, this house will look amazing. But now we are ready to add the pillars we made earlier onto this house. 1 down, 5 more to go. Okay, we are now done with the pillars, and as you can see, they look pretty awesome. And I also didn't add one on this wall because this wall was even, so I couldn't really fit one in the middle. But I did make the rest of the house look pretty nice. Okay, so instead of demonstrating it to you guys on the house, I'm going to be demonstrating it to you guys separately. So as you can see, I have this wall that looks similar to the one of my house, but I've textured it using stripped oak logs, which this is what I'm going to go for my house. It's going to look kind of like this. And these other 2 walls are other things you can do. So by using gray concrete and gray concrete powder, you can create something like this, which it might just look like a confusing wall to you guys, but what it really is a textured wall, because by using blocks that look the same, you can have this cool looking texture, and by putting a couple of stuff over this, like pillars and stuff like that, it won't look as stupid or meaningless as it does right now. And by going to the side of me, I do use this one a lot, which is stone, cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, and stone bricks. Which I do like using this one because it has so many different variants in it, and it just looks really cool. So, and usually how I do this stuff is just by breaking a couple of blocks and then placing a couple of blocks, do the same thing over again but with a different kind of block. And then until eventually you get a wall like this. And hopefully this makes sense to you guys. So now, back to the video. Okay, so as you can see, I have just finished texturing the entire house. And now we are ready to move on to the door of the house. Okay, so the theme for my door is going to be using fence gates and fences. and some stairs. And so as you can see, I have a really nice door. And in this video, we are not going to be doing the interior to the house. I might make a part 2 where I do the inside of the house. So please make sure to like and subscribe if you want a part 2. So without further ado, let's move on to the windows. Okay, so here's the idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break 6 blocks like this. And then what I'm going to do next is add some windows to make it look like a window. And then on the bottom, I'm going to add some flower beds and then put a nice overhang on the top. Okay, so as you can see, I have finished the windows all around the house. And I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty proud of this. And if you remember what I said about adding details to the window, or to the windows, that's what we're about to do. Okay, so as you can see, I am trying to make a flower bed. And in this design, I'm going to be using shelves because they look pretty good. So, but you could also use trapdoors if you want, but in this design, I'm going to be using shelves. And on the top right here, I'm going to place some trapdoors and a couple of slabs. And then I'm going to place some flowers in here, and it's going to look pretty nice. So as you can see, I am done with the flower beds and the things above the flower beds. So now we are ready to start adding more detail. Okay, so now we're ready to get started with the porch. And so first, we're going to want to break a few blocks all around like so. Leave a couple of dirt blocks scattered around. And now we're ready to start placing down the mud. Okay, now that we're done placing down all the mud, we are ready to start placing down the mud bricks. And so as you can see, I am just going to scatter them all around like so, and it should turn out pretty good like this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to build another pillar. I know, fun. Alright, so we're just going to build it up like this, and build it up about the same height as the other 10 that are scattered around the house. Okay, so as you can see, I have finished the detailing to this front porch area. So I've added a couple of barrels, another big overhang using campfires, unlit campfires, and I put a couple of lanterns out here and a little fence around here to make it look nice. And yeah, this is starting to come together. Okay, so second floors are optional. You don't really have to do it. But in this house, I'm going to be building a second floor. Probably on this side of the house. And if you want to, you could do like an entire second floor, like a replica of the first floor, copy pasted on the second half or next floor of the house. But I really recommend making the second floor smaller, just to give it more character and not make it look like it was copied off the first floor. Okay, so as you can see, I have built a basic format of the second floor, and on the front side of the house it looks pretty good, but on the back side it looks questionable. But don't worry, I'm gonna fix that later. But on all the other sides of the house it looks pretty good. And we will be building a roof, so this area will be covered up shortly, and so will this. But for now, we're going to have to start adding some detail and extending pillars upward. So let's get started on that. Okay, so as you can see, I have just finished adding the pillars and this log thing and part of a log thing on the house. and it's so far starting to come together on the second floor. And so now we are ready to texture the walls. I know, everyone's favorite. It's pretty much the hardest part of making a good looking house. So without further ado, let's texture some walls. Okay, we are now done texturing the walls. And now we are ready to start adding windows again. Hopefully not as much. Okay, so as you can see, I have just finished adding all of the windows. And I also left a hole for where the balcony is going to go. It's going to extend out here, not too big, but it's going to be enough for a player to just walk through and look out on this flat landscape. But on your house, you also don't have to add a balcony. It's also optional, but you can do it if you want. So without further ado, let's get started with building the balcony itself. Okay, so I did realize how big this balcony is going to be, so I broke 2 more blocks. And so now we are ready to get started with the balcony. Okay, so first we're going to want to place 2 blocks like this on here. Then place some slabs like so on here. Then add some stairs on here like so, making it look like a platform for the balcony. Okay, then we're going to want to add some fences on here like so, making it have a support system or a gate so players just don't walk off. Then we can add some trap doors on top of it. And there we go. A nice looking balcony on the house. I think it looks awesome. And once we start adding some trees, it'll probably look much better. But without further ado, we are going to get started with adding some details to the windows. Okay, so this flower bed design is going to be a little bit different from the one on the previous floor, but it's going to go something like this. It's going to be slightly hovering over the campfires, and then we are going to place some trapdoors and slabs above it. Pretty much the same design. But the only problem about this design is that it is slightly hovering over the campfires, because you can't really place anything under here, and it would mess up the design below if you broke it. So sometimes your designs will get stuck, like mine here, to where it's almost impossible to fix it. But in this scenario, I can just break this and place some blocks below, and then to cover it up, you could place like slabs on top of it, trapdoors, but for my design, I'm just going to place some trapdoors like so. And now we have a nice looking flower bed, where now I will place some different flowers in here and make the rest of the flower beds around the second floor. Let's get to it. Okay, so now we have some nice looking flower beds like so on almost all sides of the house, and some nice flowers on the inside. So now we are ready to construct the roof, and then we can put down our plants on surrounding the house and on the house, and then the house should be complete. Okay, so first we're going to want to start out with some slabs along the edges of the house, and then some stripped spruce logs on the top, and then some upside down stairs, and then place the stairs normally on top of the upside down stairs. And then repeat until you get to the top. Okay, we are now done with the upper and lower roof. I am gonna be honest, I am not a fan of the lower roof, but I'm not that good at building roofs. So this is the best I can come up with. But hopefully it can get covered by the trees we're gonna build on the house to make the house look overgrown and very old. But before the house is actually complete, we have one more thing we have to do to finish it off. We're going to add a chimney. Okay, so first we're going to want to place some trapdoors going all the way up to the roof. And then we can add some slabs in every other block, like so. Okay, we are now finished with the chimney and the house. And that now means we can move on to making the house look overgrown and add a couple of trees around the house to make it look more like it's in nature. And so first we're going to get some moss and bone meal and start spreading it everywhere around the house and possibly on the house. And now we can put some leaves around the house. And some of the petal leaves, whatever they're called. Azalea leaves. Okay, everyone, we are officially done with the house. Yeah, it looks awesome. By ignoring all of the leaves on the house and going to the side of the house, you can see a ginormous tree that all I did was just place a bunch of oak logs randomly on the side of the house and then place a lot of leaves randomly to make it look good. And then I added a bunch of leaves sprinkled on the house, making it look like this house is very overgrown, very abandoned looking. And I added a bunch of moss and extended this pathway a little. So I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. Please make sure to like and subscribe for a part 2 where I do the inside of the house. Bye.